gentlemen, I really love cans, but not the way you love cans. You see, I'm a marketer, and when I look through my eyes, all I see is dollar signs. And I love cans because there are so many opportunities up here. It would just break your heart if you were looking through these little blue jobs. And I'm going to be sharing with you a concept that nobody in the entire Cairns knows yet. It's going to change the way we do business up here in the north. So I'd like you to close that door, please, because this has got to stay in these walls. Now, before I actually tell you what the concept is, I'm going to tell you how I came across the idea. I was walking through Cairns Central one morning, and I was suddenly dragged over to the right by a beautiful young woman from Israel. And do you know what she was selling? She was selling cosmetics from the Dead Sea. And as she pulled me over and she dragged over my hand and she started rubbing this black stuff, it was called mud, into my hand. She said, "Oh, darling, when that does its little job, your skin's going to be so soft and you're going to be beautiful and you're going to be, 10 years younger, blah, 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 blah," how they say. So $187 later, I kept on walking. But as I was walking, I was thinking, why have I just paid $187 for a bottle of mud that comes from the Dead Sea halfway across the world, when we're completely surrounded by it here at the Esplanade? Now, in marketing terms, we call this the cha-ching factor. Cha-ching, cha-ching. So I went and got myself a little bottle of mud, and I took it to an expert, a scientist, and I said, "What's wrong with our mud? Is it toxic?" And he said, "I don't have to test this mud. Of course it's not. Don't you see all the birds we have on the Esplanade? The thousands and thousands of birds that come when the sea is out. It's full of goodness, lots of little lights." "Thank you, Mr. Scientist," I said. So cha-ching, I went cha-ching, cha-ching, but I needed to test it out. So early one morning, I made my way down to the Esplanade, to the boardwalk. I peeled down to my birthday suit. I clambered down one of the ladders, and I threw myself into the massive mud. And I rolled, and I tossed, and I thrashed, and I rolled, until I was covered from head to toe in this seething mass of Coral Coast mud. And as I thrashed, there seemed to be a small crowd forming on the boardwalk. And I heard a woman say, "Oh, honey, there's a little white whale out there stuck in the mud." But wait, there's more. I stayed still and I waited for the sun to come up. And I allowed this mud to congeal and go solid. And so, after a while, it was time to get out. So, back up the stairs, hunting out a rather large naked woman trying to find a shower. Not easy. Found one. Showered off. And the most extraordinary thing happened. And this is the top secret stuff. This is what must not ever be told anybody. Now, when I went into that mud, I was a size 28. Look at me now. I'm only a mere 18. I lost 10 dress sizes in the mud that morning. Wow! Cha-ching! So, how many bottles do we need to fill and send around the world so we get our beach back and it looks like Yorkie's knob again? Cha-ching, cha-ching. So I rang Val. And we got together over a couple of chardonnays. And she said, "Well, who would get it out? Who would get it out of the Esplanade? Who would dig it out?" I said, "Well, Mr. Henley's available." And there was only one problem problem. I stank for days afterwards. My skin was beautiful. I was so thin now. So I went over to Bush Essentials, another very successful cosmetic company that sells beautiful products from locally here, all over the world. And I said, can you make my pongy mud smell good? They said, yes, not a problem. We'll put essential oils in there, tea tree oil, and we'll make it smell beautiful. And they did. Then we needed a name. Cairns Mud didn't quite cut it. And then one of the girls who'd been in cosmetics for many years, she said, well, they mostly give French names to cosmetics. Why did you call it Merde d'Esplanade? Merde? I don't speak much French, but I know what merde means. So that didn't work. So Coral Sea Cosmetics was born. And the new amazing weight loss product, the Coral Sea Mud, was to be launched. They have agreed here at the pier to gut out the event centre, because nobody can find it anyway, and we're going to turn it into one of the biggest mud spas on the planet. And the mayor said to me as I was leaving, she said, Muddy's Park will never be the same as we turn it into a great big public mud spa. So cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Forget about tourism. We have a new industry. And when we get our beach back, we can go all the way up to Port Douglas.